Cuckoo darlings. All right, would you like to have some fun? Would you like to help others that are traveling to Paris for the first time? And would you like to support yours truly? If you answered yes to all three, then you're gonna love the new video that I just published today. It is the first in a series, micro series. I have worked so hard on this. So many months of like research and planning, execution to create this video. And it's super fun. It is told from the perspective of a lost tourist. I find the lost tourists in Paris and I help her out. Ashley with my Paris portraits and I put this together and it was so much fun and the outtakes are hilarious. We had the best time creating this and I really want this video to help others who are coming to Paris for the first time. And there's so many, especially this year with the Olympics. So what you could do is if you have 1 minute, you can just go over to the video and like it. If you have 2 minutes, share it with somebody else that might be traveling to France for the first time. And if you have 3 minutes or more, perhaps watch it. There are some tutorials that you might already know, like how to use the Paris Metro app, how to buy tickets, but there's lots of other fun things in there. And again, the outtakes towards the end are just so much fun. So many giggles, so many laughs. I hope you like this video. Please go and check it out. It means so much to me. Bisous, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bon weekend, darlings, and thank you for your support. Okay, so we're gonna do a few things today. I am going to take you on a special tour. This is cute. So I'm going to take you on a few different adventures today. We're gonna do a walk and talk. I'm gonna take you on this walking route that I'm pretty sure even if you've been to Dinan before, you didn't know about. And then maybe a few other surprises, but first we need to fuel up and we're gonna have a Breton specialty.
So I brought you here because this is actually something a bit hard to find in restaurants, but it is a specialty that people love out here. You can often find them at buvettes at like a vide grenier, you know, the garage sales. And so I always look for them there. So it's a galette, but inside there's no cheese or ham or anything like that. And the inside, it is a sausage. It's called a galette saucisse. And of course, with any galette, a traditional thing to have is a boulet of cider. This is from Val de Rance, which is a company near here on the Rance River. And it is sort of a hard cider, but it's not sweet. Generally in France, the ciders aren't as sweet as maybe you might find in a different country. So this is what a galette saucisse looks like. It's a great little thing to take on the go. Sort of think of it like a burrito, a French burrito.
It is an absolutely beautiful, magnificent day here in Brittany, and I'm really excited to take you on this tour. It's a loop. We start here at the top of Rue Jerzual, which is a very famous street here, Rue, in Dinan. But the difference with this one is that it's got so much history, over 1,000 years of history. But we're not stopping there. A lot of people do. What you are going to see today is a loop, a tour that we also take down to the port of Dinan and then along the River Rance to a really sweet village nearby called Lehon. And from there, we're gonna go through that. I'm gonna show you the ruins of an old chateau and we'll end up back here in Dinan. And on top of it all, we're gonna do a walk and talk about how to travel solo as a female in France. Let's get started. It is a Monday here, so it's a little bit quieter and tourism season hasn't quite started yet. So that coupled with the good weather is the reason why I'm taking you on this tour today. You gotta take advantage of the sunshine when it happens in springtime here in Brittany.
Isn't this just so beautiful? This street though is on a very steep incline with very old cobblestones. I like to wear really basic flats that have a bit of a grip on the bottom, especially if it's raining, because this can get really slippery. For centuries, merchants and people coming in from the River Rance, tradespeople, artisans used to use this road to get up to the bourgeois section of Dinan. In the 70s though, it started to switch over to artisans and galleries. There's also restaurants along this very steep road. For those with mobility issues, I do not suggest this part of the trip. It's a wonderful walk though. And for photographers, this is just a paradise to come and take photos of these old stone Breton homes, the beautiful colors. Look at this wisteria here. Right here is a stop that I really enjoy all the time. It's two sisters that opened up a sweet little cafe with great coffee. They sell books, patisseries. They have little tables here for you to sit outside. It's a great pause right in the middle of Rue Jerzual. This is Port Jerzual, and you're going to pass through this on the way down to the port. You're at this point maybe about halfway down the road. It gets a little bit steeper after this point. It has been like this almost as long as I've lived in Brittany, and it's part of the ramparts, but you can't walk this section. So while you can't walk this section of the ramparts, there are other parts of the Dinan ramparts that you can visit, as well as the chateau. What if you want to just do Rue Jerzual and you don't want to walk all the way back up to the top of here? There are regular buses that run year-round at the base here, down near the port. And there's also a tourism train, a tourist train that will run during your peak tourist season. I noticed it's already started, and you can check online for those dates and prices. The economic hub of Dinan, this street used to be home to weavers and tanners until the creation of an aqueduct down below in 1852. This time of year is sort of the beginning of the tourist season, because in the month of May in France, there are a ton of holidays along with school vacations, which then leads into June, July, August. And then, of course, that's really hot here as well. My favorite time of the year out anywhere in France is in September and October. Kids have gone back to school. A lot of the tourists have left for the summer. The heat waves are pretty much over by mid-September, and it's just a beautiful, crisp, but not rainy time of the year.
Hasn't this been so fun already? Now we're just getting started. We're about ready to head down to the port and then along the River Rance. And that is where I'm going to share with you some of my travel tips for traveling alone as a solo female in France. Let's go down and check out the port. I love it. It's so pretty. If you can believe it, this port has been here since the 12th century, and it was really important for a very long time in making hemp, linen, and those products were sent all throughout Europe. Now here's Rue Jerzual that we just finished walking down. And what I want you to do is to cross over this bridge straight ahead, and we're going to take a right. This is going to connect us with a footpath that follows along the River Rance. If you wanted to stop here, the petite tourist train comes down here and takes you back up the top of Dinan in this direction. There's also bus stops down here in the off season. We're just going to cross over here, and as soon as you're over this little bridge here, we're going to take a right. Do you see the people waiting at the bus stop right here? That's what you would be looking for. But we're going to move away from the port here and right into this little alley. Starts us on a walk. It is completely flat and only takes about a half hour to connect us between Dinan and Lehon. During COVID, my husband and I decided to, just when things were starting to open back up, to do a bike ride from Evron, which is another town farther up the canal. And we biked all the way up to Dinan, to the ocean, stayed overnight, and then biked back. Riding along this canal is so much fun, and it actually goes all the way to Rance. It's a fantastic, if you like biking, it's a great trip. As you cross under this huge bridge, you'll just pass a little bit of a parking lot, and immediately right here, the path continues right next to the river. As long as you're right next to the river, you're actually going to just run into Lehon. So it's super simple. You can't mess it up. If you are interested in renting these boats, they're available for little day cruises. I think they're by the hour in the port of Dinan. Isn't this just so beautiful? And what a difference. Like, you were just in the heart of Dinan 2 seconds ago, and now we're walking along this absolutely stunning canal. And I just love how peaceful that transition is. It's also a great opportunity for me to talk to you a little bit about those tips. I created this list specifically with France in mind. I'm sure you've probably, if you are a solo female traveler, you probably know a lot of the basics like self-awareness and staying in safe places. These tips, though, are a bit more specific about traveling alone in France, which I do all the time. My first recommendation for you is from a planning and strategic standpoint, that if you're traveling alone, choose to go to the smaller villages and towns Wednesday through Saturday. That's when most of things are going to be open. You don't want to spend all the money and travel time and go to places when everything's closed up. But that's what happens Monday, Sunday, sometimes Sunday, sure, Monday, Tuesday, even sometimes on Wednesdays. Like choosing to go to the villages strategically, the smaller towns on the days where you know most things are going to be open is important. Does that look like fun? So where do I stay at when I am traveling in France by myself? Where do I stay? Just like that, we're already at Lehon. We'll walk you through this super sweet village. I like to come here instead of Dinan when the crowds are at their worst during the summer months. So we're on the back side of the Abbey. I'm going to show that to you. What you're going to do once you're here is you're going to just keep walking up just a little bit farther, and then there's a bridge that crosses you back over to the other side. Then you walk through the village, and just on the other side of these trees is basically Dinan. You're not that far away. So I prefer to stay in gîtes. Gîtes are kind of like bed and breakfasts, and they're regulated as to how many guests they can have. It's technically a maximum of 5 bedrooms and 15 guests, but a lot of them have just like a single guest house or a couple of spaces that they rent out. I have to choose one that's on the small side, but that also offers like dinner services. So why do I do that? Well, one, I like knowing that I am with a local, staying in a secure place that doesn't have a lot of guests. They can be less expensive than staying at, say, a 4-star or 5-star hotel. They're more intimate, they're fun, and I love that they often offer meals on site. That way I'm not having to travel or go places at night. I feel safest when I'm all checked in, cozy, at home, in their home, and I get a home-cooked meal. So I'm on the side of the Abbey, and it looks like it's getting ready to open, but seasonally, during the summer, they have, look at how cute this terrace is. It's a fantastic place to come for lunch or grab coffee, and in the evenings they do live music. Absolutely love this hot spot, but it's only open during the summer months. At the end of a day traveling, I just love being in some of these gîtes. I've had the best experiences. The families are super sweet. You often have like a guest house or a rather private space. You're not like in the mix or the thick of it, especially if you're introverted like me. I want to be alone at the end of the day. But a home-cooked meal, very inexpensive, where I don't have to go out at night and search for a restaurant, travel and, additional time, be out at night. I love that. And the same thing for the morning, because then I'm like not trying to search out breakfast. It's just right there for me. It's an inexpensive option. I would say maybe a disadvantage is that a lot of my favorite gîtes I've stayed at tend to be out in the countryside. So if you're not driving, what's another choice? When I travel by myself, I often don't necessarily want to stay in like big budget hotels because there's just a lot of people and I just don't feel so secure. What I do budget for is a Relais Chateau property. I absolutely love this chain in France. They also have restaurants on site, and so you don't have to leave for breakfast or dinner. And yet most of the properties are character properties. They have something unique going on with them. And so they are a destination in and of themselves. And I love that. Let's go down and check out the church and the gardens. The gardens here are medieval, and a lot of them have signs so you can see what they're growing, what they were used for.
right next to the church, public toilets. So if you're in need of a little resting stop, that's where you'll find them. Let me peek in the door so you can see what it looks like inside. That's so pretty. It smells so good in there. They hold mass here on Sundays, 10:30. Honestly, Relais Chateau properties, I'm not kidding you, they're one of my favorite memories in all of my trips because, no joke, they really are a destination. They're often historic, they're character properties, there's some sort of unique aspect to them, and they're just absolutely beautiful. I always feel super safe at those hotels. They just tend to be a bit expensive. But if you're working your budget, you know what to expect. It's a wonderful way to travel because they in of themselves are an experience. And you know, what is the price of your safety? I just always feel like when I stay at Relais Chateau, all of the staff are there to help me, and I just feel really, really comfortable, and that's important when you're traveling alone. I don't always heed my own advice, but I do try to not travel at night, and I never travel in my car with a tank of gas that is less than half full. Sometimes you will come across situations where like you just have a really long distance between gas stations, or you pull into one and you just don't feel very comfortable. So if you're driving in France by yourself, do consider always keeping your gas tank above the half full line. When traveling by yourself in this country though, maybe put the diet on pause and eat some of your favorite foods, try some treats, and consider it an opportunity for self-care. I also really love to deep dive into my own unique interests and passions that maybe, you know, traveling with others may not find to be so interesting, right? Sometimes we all have our own unique hobbies or interests, or maybe something that you're researching and studying right now. And traveling with a partner, they may not be so curious about that subject. But when you're by yourself, you can absolutely deep dive into those topics and build itineraries and travels specifically around those things. I guess what I'm saying is that when you travel by yourself in this country, it is almost an endless amount of things that you can discover while you're here. It's really an important time to be self-indulgent, do some self-care, maybe visit a spa, which the French are really good at, the lassos. So there's the church right there. All I did is I just come straight up here, and right at the base of that little hill right there is the castle. Lehon is very small, so you could actually just walk it all in, you know, 30 minutes, an hour for the most part, and see how sweet this village is. And at the base is the castle. So here's the church that we were just at. We're right here. We walked along this part of the river, crossed over the bridge. You can see Lehon's not that big, right? And I showed you where the terrace was right here, and we are right here. There's this tiny little path, doesn't take any time to go up, and then you can see the old chateau, and there's some nice views up there. It was a fortified castle in about the 7th century, and it was exploited. They started using it as a quarry, and then it was acquired by the city in 1905.
I will leave the rest of the chateau for you to discover. There's some fun other secrets up here, but you're gonna have to go on this walk in order to find out what they are. I hope you had a great time on this walking tour of Dinan, the River Rance, Lehon, as well as our walk and talk about ways to stay safe and happy when you travel solo as a female in this beautiful country. I'm going to list right here all those tips one last time, and there you have it. I'll see you maybe tomorrow. Bisous. P.S. To close the loop, at the base of the chateau as you're leaving Lehon, you're going to take a right to go back to Dinan. You can see the castle right there and the sign for Lehon, and you'll want to move in this direction. Again, you were taking a right as you're leaving Lehon. You know you made the right choice when you see that you're moving towards this bakery right here. You literally just walk up the street a couple of blocks and you'll be back in Dinan. Goo Goo darlings, happy Thursday. So I brought you into town today. There's a city near me called Lamballe, and they have a marché every Thursday morning, and after all these years I've never been, so I wanted to check that out. I'm gonna kind of focus on the cost of things. I'm gonna kind of try and zoom in on the prices, because I get a lot of questions about the cost of living here. So you can kind of price check some of these fruits and vegetables and cheese and everything, that all the pretty things that we're going to see. And then also, for those of you who are interested in this topic, I actually have a full playlist on YouTube. I'm going to tag it. And the playlist is on unexpected costs when you first move to France. And I start off, I think there's 10 videos. They're only about a minute each, and they're a vertical format. And this was something that somebody had asked me to do, and so I created this whole series. I start off with the most inexpensive things, and then I go up to the most expensive, unexpected expenses when you first move to France. So again, here's that playlist, and let's go shopping. wish you could smell these. They smell so sweet. I can't wait to try one. Here's what they look like. They're like perfect strawberries. They grow them, he said, about 40 minutes from Lamballe near Rennes. And it's really kind of special. So I plan on making this recipe for you and we're gonna cook together, okay? I'm going to share this recipe with you because I received permission from the publisher. This is a very special recipe that goes back hundreds of years and is a collaboration between a particular chateau and a publisher. And both of them have given me permission to share this wonderful spring and early summer recipe with you. So you're going to have to stay tuned for that because, as you know, my vlogs go up every Friday. So I hope you had fun visiting that marché. I will say that the one thing that I noticed was missing from it is a good poissonnière, fishmonger. There was a couple there, but they didn't seem to have a lot. And being so close to the ocean, I was a bit surprised. Yeah, I have one up near the ocean that I want to take you to pretty soon. But until then, I hope you had a good time and I will see you soon. Bisous.